Joey's place gets me every time. This is an interesting episode of Full House. It's the 10th episode of the first season, and it's interesting because 90% of this episode is kind of uncomfortable to watch because Joey's feeling rejected, he's feeling left out, and Joey's a brilliant character. So it's really uncomfortable to see him feeling that way, even though we the viewer know more than he does about the situation. But the payoff for that discomfort is so amazing. In case you haven't seen the episode, I won't reveal the ending at the moment. I'll give a spoiler warning and explain more about what I mean by that. But the narrative focuses on Joey finding out that he's got the opportunity to go to, I think, 16 colleges over 2 weeks and do various stand-up comedy performances, which is amazing because he's so funny. And Dave Coulier is just an incredible performer and so brilliant to watch. And what's quite interesting is that even though he's going to be away for 2 weeks, he's only really away in the episode for a couple of minutes. So it really is all about Joey, and even though it's all about him leaving for 2 weeks, they've managed to construct the episode in a way where he doesn't actually have to be absent from the episode for too long, which I thought was really good. The pacing is also amazing, because there's this one moment where Danny has an idea to resolve a problem. The problem is that Joey's stuff's taking up a lot of room in the alcove, and Danny has a solution, and he pitches the solution, and the solution would probably be quite boring to watch. And in the very next scene, that's happened. It's resolved. And I just thought, the pacing was great. They cut out things that we definitely didn't need to see, but still managed to give the sense of the passage of time. And it was just all brilliantly done. Very, very effective. The whole thing with Jesse watching the children, it didn't need to be in there. The episode could have carried itself without adding that extra layer, but I thought it was a nice way to kind of show just how much Joey did and how much he contributed to the household, because he's feeling like he doesn't really need to be there, that they don't really need him. And after all, he's the only one there who isn't related, even though he's Danny's best friend. And we get to see Jesse's little meltdown about how, when Danny turned up later than expected. I thought the performance there from John Stamos was absolutely brilliant, and yet again showed just how much Joey does and how hard Joey actually works, because even though he doesn't have a regular job like Danny and Jesse, he contributes so much to the household, and this episode was such a brilliant way of showcasing all of that. The kids in this were great, of course. Michelle was adorable, as were DJ and Stephanie. Stephanie's ducks arriving at midnight was just so sweet to watch, and very realistic as well, for how a child would perceive that information. And I guess the ending, I'll discuss the ending now and what happens and just how it's so beautifully executed. So spoilers from now, I'll discuss what happens at the end. And at the end, and this is, Joey left a couple of minutes ago, and then it cuts to him returning. And again, the passage of time, absolutely brilliant. He realizes all of his stuff has gone from the alcove. And he's ranting about how people don't need him, how they've just thrown his stuff away or, thrown it down to the garage. And he walks down, and there's the silence where he realizes what they've done. And it's making me emotional now, but I've literally just finished rewatching this episode, so my emotions are very much on the surface with this. And just that gesture of Danny spending not just the time, but probably a considerable amount of money on renovating that garage for Joey is just one of the kindest things ever. And Joey's reaction was so sweet. And it's such a great way to say you may not be related by blood or by marriage, but you are family. And I just think it's so sweet. And because Joey is such a likeable, lovable, wonderful character, it just moves me so much every time that I watch it. Such a beautiful episode. And of course, the garage gives us another place for more scenes. The garage, the room, is also featured quite a lot in Fuller House. I won't exactly say how or who stays in that room in case you haven't got there yet. But it also means we have another set that's a little bit more interesting than just a garage. So that was a good tactic for the show as well for future episodes. Joy's Place is, a really beautiful, moving episode.